Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the James Bond Retrospective. I'm Mark Bridge, and I'm here with Zach Wojner.
That's me.
And we're here for the final film in the Daniel Craig saga that began with Casino Royale. And it's the final film in the Bond series yet. We haven't gotten a new one yet. No Time to Die, which came out in 2021. Jesus, that was so far away. It feels like yesterday the movie came out, to be honest. But it came out what, 4 or 5 years ago?
5 years ago, 5 calendar years ago.
Yeah. So, um, it's the final film, directed this time by Kari Joji Fukunaga. I think he did Dope. Did he? Did he? Did he?
Uh,
No. No, no. What did
no,
he
that's
do?
that's
Oh, he did
is
the
it
True
that
Detective stuff.
yeah, True Detective. The guy you're thinking of is the guy who was attached to the Flash for a little
Yeah, yeah,
while.
yeah, 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 yeah.
It's a Mandalorian.
Yeah. True Detective. I haven't seen anything else from this guy. I want to see what his filmography is
Yeah,
like.
never seen it. Never seen True Detective.
Yeah, the only thing I've seen was True Detective from him. I've never seen anything else. Um, but yeah, he hopped on board as director. I don't know if there was a story with Sam Mendes, if he didn't want to come back or they tried to bring him back. I don't know if there's any.
I don't think Sam Mendes was ever attached to do another one, especially after the mixed reception of Spectre. I think he was
Yeah, I'm done,
like,
right?
I won't even ask because I
Yeah,
mean maybe they would have taken him. But
probably.
I know Danny Boyle was attached for a long time. Um, Nicholas Winding Refn was considered, but I don't know if they ever actually got any work done.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, it was Danny Boyle for a long time,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
and he fell.
Carrie came in.
Then
Yep.
you still have Neil Purvis and Robert Wade credited as screenplay, but then Carrie took on some, including Phoebe Waller-Bridge, which probably I know like there was some controversy that she would take away the womanizing aspect of him or something like that.
Men are
Uh,
so fragile.
I know, right?
Oh no, they're gonna let a girl work on Bond. No, gonna give
Uh,
him. I don't know. Eye
and of
makeup. I don't know.
and then of course that wasn't the only controversy, but unneeded controversy where uh, there was a new 007 and everybody
Man,
freaked
it's
out.
007.
Um,
But some people are so stupid that they don't know that 007 is
it's just a
the
title.
title and James Bond is literally his name.
Yeah. So, because it's not only was there a new 007, not only is it's a woman, but she's a black woman. Heresy.
And a curvy black woman
Exactly.
who never shows a lot of skin.
So yeah, Lashana Lynch joins the cast
Love
as
her.
the new 007. I love her
She's great.
from of course Captain Marvel, the first one, and she showed up briefly in the Marvels, and yeah, I think that was it, right? Those are the two
The Bob
appearances.
Marley movie.
Yeah, yeah, right. Um, yeah, she did great as the new 007. And then we have Leo Seydoux returning as Madeline Swan.
She's
Um,
back, and this time she's had acting lessons. Woo!
oh my god,
She
she
is
was
much
fine.
better in this one.
She was fine in the other one.
No, she was fine in the other one, but she wasn't like good. Here, she's
Uh,
really good.
oh, I was trying to remember. They didn't have a kissing scene in the Inspector, did they? Did they?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, yeah, yeah. After they beat up Batista.
Oh, right. Because I was like wondering, damn, they didn't kiss in the second one, and this one is like them consummating that relationship that they build up in Inspector. But yeah, I guess they did have a kissing scene. But yeah, so the movie pretty much starts off with the that opening that she told Bond about Inspector, which just I think was pretty cool. That introduces our main villain, Safin, played by Rami Malek. He's I guess he's reminiscent of the first Bond from a first Bond villain, Doctor No villain, Doctor No. Is that what they
I
were trying to
mean,
go for?
there's legend that his character was originally supposed to be a rebooted Doctor No. I don't
Right,
know how much weight there is to that,
right.
but he's definitely cut from the cloth of an old timey Bond villain.
Yeah, and of
He
course
has
the
he wants to destroy the world.
yeah his I guess his method for world domination is kind of reminiscent of something. And I keep saying stuff like this reminds me of, I guess, Hideo Kojima's Metal Gear stuff or any other game. But, you know, like, Hideo is very influenced by Bond. So it's like an almost like Ouroboros
Oh yeah,
snake eating its
there's a
own
lot of
tail.
Metal Gear in this.
Yeah, so like Metal Gear 5 that had to do with the whole language thing, like targeting certain people for a certain language and speech. Um, this plot point reminds me of that, but it's instead of like speech and stuff, it's more like DNA, skin contact, blood.
I mean, that's Fox style.
Yeah, true, true, true. Um, which I thought was pretty cool. I like that whole aspect of it. Is very. I mean, I can't think of why a country would want to develop something like this and as a weapon because you can't really contain that thing if it goes awry. You know what I mean? It's like, but I guess that's par for the course for all bioweapons. It's
Well,
like
we're
you
learning
develop
in
them.
recent years that some people are obsessed with their genetics being superior to those of other races.
Yeah,
Kind of a trend right now.
yeah. And then of course for the rest of the cast we have Ray Fiennes back as Mallory slash M.
This time he doesn't suck.
Yeah.
Good this time.
Ben Whishaw as Q.
He's even
And
better than last time.
and Naomi Harris as Moneypenny, but
Actually, didn't really do much,
yeah, and they didn't. I guess
which is fine.
the
Lois
seriousness of
Maxwell wasn't like hanging out in every scene in all of her movies.
yeah, I guess the seriousness of this movie didn't allow for the traditional flirty type relationship with her and Bond. But I guess it is what it is. We got enough from the first two. Well, the first two,
Sometimes
right?
M
Oh no,
Secretary just has to be
sorry.
M
From
Secretary.
from we got enough from Skyfall and a little bit from Spectre. I guess it's enough.
She shot
Um,
him. What more does she want?
and then Felix Leiter, Jeffrey Wright is back.
He's back, and this time he's bald.
Yeah, and I mean, back for a time. Traditionally, for this one, unfortunately, he passes. He gets murked by that German comedian. I can't think of him as a serious. Even in this movie, just like I guess he plays a part of the smiling guy. What was his name?
Billy Magnuson.
Yeah. Um.
Logan Ash.
So yeah,
Great
he.
name.
Yeah, he.
He's a German comedian
Yeah, he's known for
in a movie.
being sort of this fun. I think he even has
I mean, because he's
a
American.
YouTube. I think he has a YouTube channel too.
No, no, no. You're thinking of Javelin from Suicide Squad.
You
Yeah,
sure?
a completely different actor.
Hold on.
Yeah, you're thinking of Flula Borg,
Right, right.
who's much younger than Billy Magnuson and
Yeah,
not as much of an actor. I mean, he's done stuff like he was in the Suicide Squad.
yeah,
I guess
yeah,
he's on YouTube, but I've never seen any of that stuff.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
Billy Magnuson, he's
Yeah. I guess I was confusing the
a cool
two.
dude.
Yeah,
I met him at Comic Con a couple times. I've interviewed him at Comic Con. Um, he was in not the studio, the franchise on HBO where he played a
right.
prima donna actor cast as a superhero. And it's
Yeah,
really funny because when I saw him at Comic-Con. I took
Mm-hmm.
a picture that I was kind of hoping would go viral, which was Tired Billy. Uh, I'll send it to you. You can throw it up on the YouTube video.
All
Yeah,
right.
I'm making you do editing. But where he's exhausted and he talked about being sick and exhausted, but that he was
Right.
still out here for the fans because he was doing a show and he was doing a Broadway show.
Mm.
And then like a couple days later, it was reported that he dropped out of the Broadway show. Uh, I don't know what the given reason was, but clearly exhaustion.
Right.
I think he overworked himself, but he's so good, and I think he's great in this. He only has like two proper scenes,
Mm-hmm.
a little bit more sprinkled in, but two proper scenes. Uh, but he
Like,
makes the most out of them, and he's
yeah,
very
like
memorable to
the
me.
first meeting in Jamaica. They shot it in Jamaica.
Yeah,
Yep. Bloop, bloop. Um, they had the first meeting. Then they had the boat or the boat, and I guess
and
the
then the
whole
fight.
the fight at the end. Um, but yeah, he's pretty cool. I liked his character. Um, very smarmy. um,
Yeah,
Christoph Waltz returns for again another brief scene as Ernst Blofeld. Um, he was trying to run Spectre from behind bars as any criminal boss is wont to do. But Stafford had Stafford had his
Saffron.
Stafford had his own plans and
Yeah, love
sends.
Blofeld in this. Love just the one scene.
Mm-hmm.
Great scene.
It's like
They get to
very
do some
Joker-esque.
barbs. Yeah,
Joker behind bars talking to Batman about another villain or another attempt, and of course he drops the bomb on him like, oh yeah, Madeline Swan was never a Spectre. He basically just wanted to fuck with him to make him be alone as he is um, for that cool after the credit scene. We get Endgame style 5 years later. Um, Bond missed out on 5 years of relationship with Madeline Swan because he thought she was a daughter of Spectre. Um,
couldn't let go of his distrust of people.
yeah. So like yeah. So pretty much Blofeld did significant damage to Bond without having to lift a finger. Literally, just basically, you know, planted a bomb by Vesperlin's grave, hoping one day he'll show up, and then at the time he shows up, boom! Right?
Yeah.
Um,
He's not even that broken up by the fact that, his entire organization gets destroyed.
yeah, right.
So
He's
yeah,
like,
everything after breaking up Bond and Madeline was just icing.
yeah, because it's like if Spectre can't get him out of jail, Spectre has no more power. So it's like, whatever.
And
You
he's
guys
like,
suck
yeah,
anyway.
I'm in jail, but I won, so
Yeah,
I've accomplished what I set out to accomplish. I'll just hang out in jail, do
yeah,
jail stuff, eat jail food.
yeah. And Bill Tanner is back, and Roy,
Tanner,
because he was an inspector, right?
not sure he was.
Oh, was he? Damn, I can never remember these fucking. So
I don't
basically,
remember that hairline anywhere.
he was in all five. No, because I think, yeah, he was in all.
Quantum was first.
Yeah, yeah. Which one was I think that was a Daniel. I mean, sorry, that was a Pierce Morgan movie, wasn't it? With I think it was
Brosnan?
the guy that I was talking about who was in Outlander as a bad guy, Toby something.
Toby Stevens
No, no, no,
from
no,
Die Another
no.
Day? Or
No.
are you thinking of M's bookish secretary from Casino Royale?
Yeah.
She
Um.
has a lieutenant in that who's basically Moneypenny and Tanner combined, but I don't know if he's named.
Okay, it wasn't supposed to be Tanner, right?
No.
Okay.
Like maybe if he's not named, then you can assume that he's Tanner, or at
Right.
least that film's version of Tanner. But we don't get a proper Tanner until Quantum.
Oh yeah, it was Tobias Menzies. Oh, Villers was his name.
Yes. Weird.
Villiers. Okay. His character's last name is a reference to James Villiers, who portrayed Bill Tanner in For Your Eyes Only. So I guess it was
There you go.
supposed to be a little
It's a nod.
homage to, yeah. But then we got a proper Tanner in Casino Royale all the way up till this movie.
It's good with in Casino Royale. Like they didn't, they even got a guy who gave
Oop, I think we lost.
if you put him in the credits. But I think for Casino Royale they wanted to keep the named cast small. They didn't want to introduce a lot of Bond regulars. Yeah,
Right, right.
make it just about Bond and him.
Okay. Right. And then what else? Oh, and then we have Ana de Armas.
I'm nervous. She's so pretty. She's so fun.
It's just like woo. So this movie, because I like to talk about sort of how the structure of the whole Bond girl thing works in most of these films, and there's always like a little pattern. Like you would have at least two
Yeah,
Bond
this
girls
one's
in a
not
movie.
formula though.
Yeah. Um, you know, Either the first girl ends up being the villain or dies, and then you have the rest of the film dedicated to the other Bond
But she
girl.
only becomes the villain like
um, but this one, we get Anna, and she really isn't a Bond girl in the sense of she has no attraction to Bond. I mean, I'm sure she does, but she plays it off like she's not interested. Um, and she really, I guess she has just one main sequence in the film. She comes and goes. She works for Felix, and I'm sure at some point they wanted to spin her off into some movie as every other Bond character that they introduced that has a cool backstory or whatever. It was like, oh, we could possibly do a movie with this character.
And from what I understand, the legend is that she was written in kind of as a cameo after Knives Out
Right.
because they were great together
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then at some point, they were like, "What if instead of a cameo, we give her like a full-on, action sequence and kind of give the movie a little burst of action near the beginning,
Yeah.
um, to help with the pacing?" And then someone said, "Yeah, but that'll make the movie almost 3 hours long." And they said, "Yeah, but it would also be awesome." And fortunately, they won out in the end. And I think it works for the whole movie because of, it's hard to call it like a fault, but it's almost like a by default problem with this movie is that in order to be the big grand finale, it's got like 5 opening sequences.
Right.
You've got the prologue in the past. Bond's not even in there. Then you've got Bond and Madeline, and then you've got the opening credits sequence, and then you've got busting into the lab and kidnapping the Russian scientist,
Yeah.
and then we've got Bond in Jamaica. It's like is this is when the movie starts? Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I think I was watching the opening, and I'm like, okay, so the credit sequence hasn't gone there. I wonder how much time has passed, and I checked. There's 20 minutes has passed. There's still no opening credit sequence. I was like, and then I remember the conversation we were having about, was it World Is Not Enough, where
Yeah, having at the time the record.
yeah, so because the whole boat sequence in World Is Not Enough, that happened pre-credit or after credit? I'm trying to remember.
In the movie itself, it's pre-credits, but it was supposed
Right.
to be after.
Right. Um, so like I was like, okay, so this one definitely beat it as sort of the longest
Yeah, I'm
opening.
sure at some point they were considering having the opening credits after the flashback.
Yeah.
Um,
But it works better because it just felt like, especially when the song kicked in, when Bond puts Madeline on the train, and it's like, the sort of somber tone of the song just matches the idea
Yeah.
that they'll never see each other again. It was like, wow, I like that.
Mhm. Yeah, the song works in context. I will say I don't remember the song already, and I just watched the movie, last night.
Yeah,
So it's
you know
kind of
what?
two in a row that are kind of a dud for me. But
Yeah, I don't know.
I
It's
like Billie Eilish. I like her.
but it's funny that like the two songs to me that sounds the most Bond like is the songs that you were like, like Skyfall and No Time to Die is like, if you ever heard those songs separate from the movies, not knowing anything, you'd swear they're Bond songs, and it was like, and you'd be correct.
Yes, in hindsight, after listening to Spectre and No Time to Die,
Right,
I feel like I'm a little harsh on Skyfall. Well, I like it more than the last two.
right,
Um, music, the song,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but yeah, Spectre at least gets a boost from having a really good, title sequence. I like the octopus stuff in
Yeah.
the music video. Um, and this one, the whole credit sequence is kind of just meh for
Yeah.
me.
No ladies, like they completely. It's like
There's some ladies,
I
but
don't
not a lot.
like the main thing I see is like the shield and the swords and the
The
rubbles.
guns and the DNA, but and there's like
Yeah.
there's a woman and like you kind of see like her veins, and that's kind of representing the nanobots and the blood,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The
But you see plenty of curves.
Project Heracles. Um,
Heracles, M's
yeah,
folly.
yeah. So I guess the movie itself, when you look at it, it's a big epic. It's really giving us that. There's not many time for jokes in the one-liners.
Sure, there are. That's the thing. Is so I'm just gonna get this off my chest. I friggin' love this movie.
Right.
It's my favorite Daniel Craig after Casino Royale, and it's really close.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, it is flawed.
Right.
There are things in it that only work because the movie has to work. Like the things that only work because the movie needs to stay on its course to its final destination.
Mm-hmm.
And and if characters went, "Mm, let's actually think about this for a second," then it wouldn't get there. So they don't. No time to think. But but I like I like the track that it's on, and I like how it gets there, and I like what it does, and I like how it remains a Bond movie while being the most off the reservation a Bond movie could be. I think that the stuff that people praised about Skyfall that I don't see in Skyfall, I see and I praise in this movie.
uh, um, yeah. This movie does feel epic in scope, and then the action sequence is dope. Alexander Witt is back. I don't know if he this is the second one, or did he do some of the previous other ones other than
I think he did all of Craig's except for Quantum.
oh, okay.
I think maybe he didn't do one,
Hold on,
but
let
he
me
definitely
see.
did Skyfall. He definitely did this. He definitely did Casino. He probably did Spectre.
All right. See if I could find and stuff. But yeah, yeah, the
Yeah,
action
a
sequences.
great action.
Yeah.
Um, it all when you see like behind the scenes, VFX breakdowns, you see that there's so much CGI, but so much of it is invisible
Mm-hmm.
that I don't mind at all.
Yeah.
So every once in a while, there's something that I'm like, maybe there's another way to do this, like the the gravity plane they use at the end. I'm like, well, this is obviously not a real plane. There aren't stuntmen in a plane. It's just a CGI thing.
Yeah.
So maybe they could have gone by by boat or something. I don't know.
Right.
But
Um.
like for me, when the CGI is obvious, it's not James Bond.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, and I guess there's a couple of other moments like the exploding boat. It's very CGI looking to me. Um, the boat in the midpoint, where Felix bites it,
Right. 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 Right.
that kind of
Um.
looks
I
fake.
guess it's one of those things if you're looking, because it didn't really stand out to me, or maybe I wasn't really paying attention, but it didn't really stand out like CG.
Sure, and
There's
and like you're along the ride, you're in like the moment of Bond and
yeah,
Felix in peril, so you
yeah,
don't
yeah.
you can go with it.
Um. Yeah. Action sequence is top tier. The relationship with Bond and Madeline, um, like we mentioned earlier, takes a turn. In the beginning, he thinks she's working for Spectre, leaves her, and 5 years have passed. They reconnect. The way how that scene where he's like, "Come on now, I'm always in control," right? When he sees her,
Yeah,
um, and then when he meets up with her at home, he gets introduced to his daughter, and you're like,
the
she
cute.
tries. Yeah, she tries like, "Oh, she's not yours," but her eyes. It was like, "Come on, girl, who are you fooling?" um,
It's almost like at the she knows that he can obviously tell. That's why
yeah,
she says she's not yours a second time, being like, the first time is a feeble attempt at a lie, and the
yeah.
second time is, look, regardless of DNA, she's not quote unquote yours.
And I think it was just stemming from the anger that she,
Yeah, I'm not.
because
I'm not gonna let you that close.
yeah, because that kind of sting, right? And I think was that because in the beginning, she said something. James asked something to tell you. I'm wondering if it was because it could be one of the two things. It could be like I'm pregnant because I'm sure she knew then, or maybe not. I don't
Definitely,
know.
that's just pregnant.
Or was it the thing that she wanted to tell about her history with Staffin? How
Nah,
his
I don't think so because that's not as immediate.
right. It's true.
Kind of like, oh, by the way, there's like a crazy person who like killed my mom and saved my life, and it was weird when I was a little kid. But like,
Yeah.
when do you bring that up to somebody that you're dating?
Yeah. True.
It's like if you're in witness protection.
And then I was
At
trying
some
to
point, you're gonna have to tell them, but
yeah. I was trying to look at what she wrote down in the beginning when she did the whole secret burning thing. It was something French, I think, and I was like, "What is that?"
I saw the word mask in it, which
Yeah,
makes me think that she's kind of trying to leave him behind, like leave her traumatic childhood behind.
yeah, yeah.
Like that is something that she carries with her. Definitely something that she was going to tell Bond, but I think when she's like, "Yo, Bond, I gotta tell you something,"
It's the
it's
pregnant
definitely
thing,
it's the pregnancy.
and
And at the
then
the very end of that scene when he shuts the door on her,
she
she
touches her stomach.
grabs kind of her
Yeah,
stomach.
yeah.
It's
I
a
was
little
like,
bit
"Oh
of
yeah, yeah." So yeah.
either that or she had like Taco Bell before they left. She's like, I had Taco Bell, and you were doing donuts in the car, shooting guys. Ugh.
And of course, that scene had the famous Aston Martin. Um,
Yeah, and that's why she sent him out in the first place. He's like, hey, you want to hang out? And she's like, oh, I just ordered Taco Bell, so why don't you go to Vesper's grave? And by the time you're done, I'll have finished my diarrhea.
yeah. So we see the scene with the car. The car still got it, man. Now
Oh
that's
yeah,
this director wanted an action sequences with the car. Um,
yeah. We get to see the gadgets. The gadgets are so fun.
yeah,
Drops the couch, and it escalates so well.
yeah,
Excuse me. We see the classic, machine guns in the car. That this time, instead of the guns that come out of out of the hood, they're
hmm
built into the headlights, and they're Gatling guns or mini guns, whatever,
hell yeah.
spinny guns. And he's got the caltrops, the little spike balls. Except instead of just spikes, they blow up.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
awesome. Like what? How hard is that, Sam Mendes?
and I also blame as much as I love him, Martin Campbell too. They both hated the car. They didn't want to do anything with the car. Both of them didn't want.
Well, Martin. Well, it was back to basics for Casino Royale, and the legend goes that the big car chase scene in The World Is Not Enough with the planes and with the saws on the planes was written for GoldenEye,
Yeah.
but was cut
And GoldenEye was the worst offender of them all. It just showed up and then left. I was like, oh my god, are you kidding me?
They had a tank chase. You can't top a tank chase. Let's focus on what we got.
Alright, true. But at least now, Cary Fukunaga said, fuck it, let's go ham with the car. And they went with the old car.
Opens with a great car sequence. We get another one later on with the big old sedan. No, what are those kind of cars called?
SUVs?
The big trucks that they use. SUVs, yeah.
Yeah, I love that sequence.
It's not just driving around and being chased, but he also gets out of the car and blows up the cars with his guns.
Yeah.
That's all done really well. Turns Billy Magnuson into a little squish stain on the forest.
Hell yeah.
Great line. I had a brother. His name was Felix Leiter.
Why you always make him sound like Sean Connery? It's like your bond is always gonna be Sean.
Well, because what's the Craig impression?
I guess
James Bond, and I want to be taken seriously as an actor.
Yeah, I think only. To be fair, I think only Sean has a distinctive voice as Bond. Like you can't really.
There's different accents also.
Like how do you talk like Bond as Pierce? He didn't really have like a specific accent. He just
with Pierce you have to go full Irish. You have to be like top of the morning to you. Oh, Faith and Begorra, I'll have a vodka martini. And Roger Moore has such a distinct, like gentlemanly accent. Steve Coogan does a great impression. In fact, Steve Coogan narrates. I haven't seen it yet, but there's a documentary about Roger Moore that's narrated by Steve Coogan doing a Roger Moore impression, reading his diaries.
Right.
And I love Steve Coogan, Alan Partridge, but I gotta see that. But it's kind of like Americans can do impressions of different parts of America. New Yorkers could do the Boston accent, and Philly accents and Southern accents. The New England accent. But when it comes to like the British accent, we just do one accent, and it's usually Paul McCartney.
Right.
Versus for them, they're like, yeah, we got a ton of different accents. And to their credit, Daniel Craig and Roger Moore don't sound alike.
No, they don't.
They don't have the same British accent. They both have British accents, but they're different.
Yeah, I just feel like Sean is probably the only one that has a distinct Bond voice, while others.
Well, and Sean is also just like anyone who goes to impression school.
Yeah.
Not that impression school is a real thing, but that's like the first one they learn.
Yeah.
That's why like Sean Connery accents are so played out.
Yeah, like when you do everybody tries to imitate James Bond line, they always do it in his voice instead of trying to do it in anybody else's voice.
Right.
It does sound smooth coming from him, I must say. But yeah, back to Craig's Bond, his final outing. Now,
he wears suits that fit.
Oh yeah, I guess they tailored it, but not too tight.
I don't know what that suit is made of in the first act, when he gets blown up at Vesper's grave, the suit
Right,
that makes
right.
him look like Mr. White. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
know if that's on purpose or not, but like at some point, I don't remember if it was in Casino or Quantum, but I feel like Mr. White wears a suit that looks a lot like the one Craig wears in the first act. Maybe it's the suit that he wears when he gets shot at the end of Casino.
Probably.
But
Um,
it
look.
feels like a nod, but I can't confirm it. But I like that suit. It's weird. It's like thick. It's like, is that suit made out of a whole camel? I don't know,
And he gets
but I
pretty
like
much
it.
shot, and he just like flinched. Well, I guess it's a graze because you see like his shoulder. It
Yeah,
was like a little graze, but damn, he had no. It was like pew! It's like damn, bro. You get shot so many
yeah,
times. It does. It's like bee stings to you.
yeah. And another like great stunt. It's probably not even a stunt. I don't know if it even qualifies as a stunt because I'm sure that there's a ton of invisible CGI. But like when he just lays down in the gutter of the street so the car goes right over him.
Oh my god, that
That's
guy's
awesome.
that guy's 9 lives kicked in. It's like Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. Because I'm
I'm
wondering,
sure that wasn't done for real, but pulled my eye.
but I'm like, and when it was done, too, I was like, I wonder if that's what would happen if it happened for real. Like, can somebody dodge getting squished by going under that? And then I'm like, the suspensions in that car would have been ripped to shreds.
Well, I don't know. Maybe. I mean, he did. Remember when he did the corkscrew jump in Man with the Golden Gun? Car didn't do anything.
Yeah. um, but yeah, it was awesome. And then the bringing it back to Safin, you don't see much scenes with him, but I guess when every time he's on screen, like, what do you think though? Like, because I like his performance. I mean, he's not one of those imposing villains that you normally see in a Bond movie, but I guess harkening back to like your Doctor No types, he does capture at least that kind of vibe. Um, where it's like he's not a physically imposing villain. He's not going around like beating up the bad guys. But he does give a good monologue. I gotta tell you.
But you kind of believe that he could. I get. You mentioned Joker vibes from Blofeld. I get Scarecrow vibes from Rami. Like I
Yeah.
could see him being a guy who has like uh Kiss of the Dragon, like just like a million different poisons
Right.
uh at his disposal. So if he were to get into a fight with someone, he would poison them and then let them beat him up for like 5 minutes. And they'd be like, "Why aren't you fighting back?" And he'd be like, "Because I've already killed you." They'd be like, "What are you talking about?" And then boom, eyes bleeding.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
just wrote a scene.
That would be dope. Yeah, yeah. So I like his villain, and then also his lair is very reminiscent of like your traditional Bond villain lair. Something designed by, oh my god, see my head. You know the guy who was always designing cool stuff. What was his name? Um, he did all the earlier Bond movies with the
Oh, Ken Adam.
yes.
Oh,
Um,
there's definitely a Doctor No nod in the
yeah.
base. That ceiling grate is
Mm-hmm.
so crab key.
Yeah, it's a cool design, and I love the when they're in the sort of the little stream with the guys in the red. I guess where they're mining the the chemicals out of the water, putting chemicals in the water. I don't know what the fuck they were doing. Um,
Bad guy stuff.
Also, like that gave me a little of Death Stranding feel to it. Lot every time Leah talks, is like it just reminds me of Fragile. Uh, so it's like it does give off a lot of stuff. Gives off that Hideo Kojima vibe for me. Like makes me wonder if he could make a dope Bond movie at some point.
Oh, it would be. It There's multiple answers to that question, and most of them are joke answers. But I would love to see it.
Yeah. Um, yeah. So, and then of course, that whole sequence. So, like when we were watching the movie the first time, and I guess marketing emphasized this was the last Daniel Craig Bond movie, but not to the point where there's giving away what the ending would be. I think I first got a hint. Not that it was spoiled for me, but I got a hint. This you could possibly die. Only because like I read somewhere that somebody who was a fan of Bond, like his dad was a fan of Bond, and he probably took his dad to see the Bond movie, and his father was upset. I don't remember where I read it. Read that, but upset by the ending, how the ending kind of threw him off, and I was like what could the Bond ending be that would upset a Bond fan? Wonder if he dies. And then like,
Yeah, I mean, couldn't be worse than the ending of Spectre.
right. And then of course, like, once Safin infects Bond with the with Hercules, I was like, holy shit, they are gonna kill him. Fuck, that's brave. I mean, it is his last movie, but at the same time, they never really kill off Bond to bring in a new Bond, right? It was always like, all right, we'll just recast. But I guess this whole Bond saga is its own, right? Beginning from Casino Royale to this.
Yeah,
So they wanted
exactly.
to, yeah. So they wanted to put a bow on
That's the
this
big
one.
difference.
Yeah,
To be like, this was, in hindsight, the Craig era was an experiment. You
yeah,
know, in the immediate, they did Casino Royale. I don't think that they had an idea to like make the Daniel Craig movies their own kind of sub series.
yeah,
I think the idea was we'll do one or two. We'll do Casino Royale, but then Quantum was so like rushed, and Casino was so successful that we wanted to struck while the iron's hot and make a literal immediate sequel.
yeah.
Um, and they kind of built from there and kind of wound up making this five
Mm-hmm.
film arc, which was never intended to be a five film arc, but in hindsight, I say it works pretty well.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Um, as a five film arc, and kind of wanting to end it in a way where when the next Bond comes in, we can have a clean slate. We can do whatever we want. We can do another reboot. Uh,
I mean,
like
it's definitely going to be
in the
another reboot. It's just
reboot
yeah.
in the sense of doing an origin story.
You're right. True. 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 Like,
But they could also
wouldn't be
like because yeah,
wouldn't it be crazy if the next Bond movie picks up where Pierce is left? It's like, oh, we'll continue that story.
yeah. Why not have Pierce in the next one and just have him be like, "Oh, you're out of retirement, old man." And, oh well, looks like I've got some things to do.
And you know what was funny too about this movie? After the credits, James Bond will return. Like just seeing that was kind of funny. It's like how, but I mean I know how exactly, but it's just the idea.
Because like
Yeah,
when one story ends, another one begins.
yeah. It's just the idea that this movie has such finality to it, and just to see James Bond real return is like if these are the movies that you saw, like you've never seen the previous ones, and you just gave someone this saga to watch, and each of them had James Bond real return at it, so you understood. But you're watching this last Daniel Craig movie, and then you see him die, and then at the end of the credits is like James Bond will return. You'd find that funny. It's like, hey, what? It's like spoiler alert, people. You
Yeah.
But yeah. And then, I guess to touch upon the music, because I think that whole ending sequence with Matilda and Madeline is like reminiscent of On Her Majesty's Secret Service. I guess when
Oh yeah,
Bond and
that's definitely straight up
yeah,
OHMSS. They just
and
lifted.
did did Hans Zimmer kind of use some of the score cues as well, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, and the scene where Bond and Mallory are talking by the river,
Yeah.
it's just right out of On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
So yeah. And then speaking of Hans Zimmer's music, does his score didn't sound very Hans Zimmer like for some of it, but there's some parts.
Wow.
But, but but there's some parts I was like, oh yeah, that's definitely Hans Zimmer. Like the scene in the infiltration of the base, that was definitely Hans Zimmer. And then
That
like
was crazy for him to have the whole sex scene set to the theme from Pirates of the Caribbean. Like that's a bold choice.
that's funny. But yeah, but other than that, I think his score was pretty cool. Like you hear a little bit of the No Time to Die theme sprinkled throughout, especially when he's saying goodbye to Madeline at the boat, when he's like, oh, I have to go back and do this. You hear like a little bit of the a little choral of the No Time to Die theme.
And then, of course, after he gets blown up, they really milk that moment with the
Yeah.
score, and it's like, damn it, I said I wasn't gonna cry again.
But it was just weird. It's like it just because when you watch a Bond movie, he lives, right? There's never a Bond movie where he dies. Like that has never happened. So it just felt like out of all movies where you see a hero dies at the end, right? Like even movies that had franchises that the hero dies at the end, this one felt like almost surreal looking because it's like it's Bond dying. You know what I mean? You can't
Yeah, I
even
mean,
utter
there are
that
people who've been
sentence.
watching. There are people whove been watching Bond movies since 1962.
Yeah, so that's why I
And they've
kind of
never
got the
seen
feeling
Bond
that he was
die.
about to die when I read read like somewhere that the dude's father was pissed off at the end. It was like, damn, okay,
Yeah, people's dads get pissed off at everything.
yeah. But I mean,
Be like,
it
fuck
was,
your daddy.
but it was a great ending though. I loved it, and it felt like a cool little full stop on that saga of films. Now the question I want to ask, obviously the next Bond movie will be someone new and it'll somewhat be a new story. Do you think going forward they should treat every Bond iteration like how they did this, where it's like anytime you introduce a new Bond, let that person tell their story, wrap it up, and then like the new Bond is a new Bond, new take, new story, not a continuation.
Not necessarily, because I don't want every Bond movie to be part of a saga.
Right.
I would like some Bond movies that feel just like straight up one and done Bond movies. Like I'm not gonna show someone Spectre and then be like, okay, now let's jump around to another movie. It's like
Right.
with the Craig movies, you gotta watch them all in order.
True. True. True.
Like I suppose you could watch Skyfall on its own because that's kind of a reboot within a reboot.
Yeah.
And this last one I feel like you can watch on its own, but like you can't watch
I mean, you'll be missing
Quantum
a
of
whole
Solace.
context. You'll be missing a whole context with Madeline and
You piece it together.
true. True.
Um, but like I wouldn't recommend anyone watch Quantum of Solace if they hadn't seen Casino Royale.
Right. That's true.
But I would recommend anyone to watch Tomorrow Never Dies or The Man with the Golden Gun or The Spy Who Loved Me or Thunderball. It's like they even like Thunderball, which is part of the Sean Connery Spectre arc. You can watch them in any order. It's fine. Jump around, have a good time.
So would you? Okay. So like, would you want every Bond movies going forward to be its own standalone, or do you mind like once in a while they have like a
I think there's room for
continuation?
both. There's room to
Okay.
mix it up.
Good. Cool.
I
Cool.
mean, knowing that it's Amazon Prime now, I'm sure there'll be tons of spin-offs that don't add anything significant, but they'll have like a walk-on cameo in the movie, and we'll go, "Oh, that's from the show."
Yeah. Um. Yeah, all right, yeah. So yeah,
Yeah,
these.
you know, we're in a much higher level of corporate synergy than the old days when people were like, "Yeah, but maybe Iron Man will show up in Agents of Shield." No, no, you're never gonna do that. Never in a million
Yo,
fucking
me.
years you're
Oh
gonna
my
do that.
god, those days when Shield, Agents of Shield was just announced, man. Like my
Maybe they'll have an episode with Captain America.
bro, I was
They're
like,
never gonna do that.
the possibilities was great. I was going in like, I can't believe we're about to get the MCU on television. It was like the feeling I had about that show, man. I mean, listen, Sam Jackson, who's
Good
never
show,
done
good show.
television, showed up. You know what I mean? So I was like, hey, man, we got Sam. We were about to get somebody else.
In
Um,
hindsight, his appearances on Agents of Shield were much better than Secret Invasion.
yeah, right. Listen, as a guy who actually didn't mind Secret Invasion, that could have been more. You could have brought in what's her face, Daisy, um,
Oh yeah.
and make it. As a matter of fact, it would have been cool if Secret Invasion, if they wanted to go that route of it being more of a spy thriller than the Big Bang explosive stuff that it was in the comic books. Like if they wanted to go that route, I wouldn't have minded if it was more like an extra season of Agents of Shield. Like bring that cast in, incorporate them with Sam Jackson and Maria Hill,
That would be
and
cool. Do like a one-off, like even now to do like a one-off season of that.
yeah. So and then
Like
Secret
a
Invasion is that
continuation.
story. Yeah, I think it would have went over way better than it did with this one. Again, I don't mind the season, the what they did. It's like it's all part of the tapestry of the MCU to me, and it's like,
Yeah,
but
and I don't really want Bond to be like a tapestry. I don't
right,
want like the early years,
right.
or a 10 episode thing of Q showing you all the stuff in his lab.
Ooh,
Yeah, and this helped. Damn it! See, but by doing like a joke pitch,
yeah,
now I'm like, oh, now I want to see that.
yeah,
Like,
right.
oh, this is my hot dog gun that shoots explosive hot dogs. I remember when that helped 005 out in the field. In fact, I can remember it now. And then you have an episode all about 005 using the hot dog gun.
Now
And
I
now I'm
got
like, damn it! Now I would actually watch that.
now I got a question for you. Say the next Bond actually has Bond in a relationship. Like Moneypenny is actually the Bond girl, and he actually consummates that relationship. Would that be heresy, or would that be something that you'd be interested in seeing?
My favorite part of Heresy is when people get mad about it. I think I love it when sacred lines are crossed.
Mm-hmm.
I love give me the James Bond equivalent of drawing a picture of Muhammad. Like I love that stuff. Like
I
anything
mean,
that makes like the fan base riled up, um, and upset and like what are they doing? I don't understand. Like when people are freaking out over Starfleet Academy on Star Trek.
oh, I
It
can't wait
hasn't
for
even
that.
come out. It hasn't even come out yet. And like they're mad about it. I don't know why they're mad. They're just mad. Let them be mad.
Listen,
Fuck.
their view of Star Trek has always been the whole, Kirk and what's his name and Picard era, and that whole sort of stilted way of shooting television shows, which again is
Watch.
cool.
Careful. Careful. Careful.
It's cool, but let's be honest. If they had the tech today, those two shows would not look the way they did. They
No,
would
of
look
course.
more
I mean
than.
that's a whole other thing. I mean, I'm talking like if Deep Space Nine came out today, they'd boycott it because it's woke because they've got a black captain
Yeah.
who wasn't even a captain in the first season.
And that's the thing too. It's more. like even the storylines in the older ones are just as woke
Yeah, they're woke
as
as
today's
fuck.
story. You know what I mean? Like I remember, I
Got the
keep
one with the
going.
guy on the black side of his face and the white side of his face, but they're on the other side, so they're fighting.
No,
Like the
fuck
Riddler.
that. I keep going back to the episode in Next Generation with Riker on the planet who falls in love with the non-binary
Yeah.
person. Like those are all non-binaries. Like NBs all over the place, motherfucker. It's um, because if I'm not mistaken, hetero relationship in that planet was considered taboo, and not like the gay relationships is supposed to be the ones. I think
I don't
it's
remember the
been a long
episode.
time. It's like years now since I've seen that episode, but I remember
But
it
but the
being
point of Star Trek was always to
yeah,
challenge social norms,
yeah. So it's like,
and
what
to
the fuck,
embrace
man?
infinite diversity and infinite combinations. IDIC. That's straight up what Star Trek stands for. It's a Vulcan thing.
Yeah,
Um, but like I guess my point
yeah,
is like you have rules, but at a certain point you got to break them.
yeah.
Otherwise, you're just going through the motions.
I mean,
If you're doing things,
I know there's one rule that you wouldn't want them to break though.
which
You
one's
know the
that?
one. You know the one.
A Star Trek rule or a Bond
No,
rule?
Bond rule. That Bond is a title and not a name.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, that's not a rule. That's like that's just the premise.
Yeah, but if they
It's like
cross that line, they'd say, "Hey, James Bond is an actual title given to." Um,
that would be a retcon,
yeah, I guess.
and it would completely shatter everything that's ever existed in the space time continuum. That's different.
I mean, they could.
that's
I'm saying
that's different because it's my rule.
no. I'm saying going forward, they can make that the deal. Not saying like the other Bond
Yeah,
movies
yeah.
was like that
If they
was a
wanted to do something like that, they could.
okay.
I really wish they wouldn't, because even though the Craig movies are a straight up reboot of the classic series,
Yeah,
you still have the sense that they're the same character. They're just like a alternate dimension version, or the Marvel term. They're a variant.
or Star
You
Trek
know,
term, the Kelvin's
yeah,
timeline.
Kelvin timeline version versus the codename theory. It's like it's just some other guy.
Yeah. Um,
Here's the adventures of some guy who passed the same arbitrary tests as Bond. It's like this isn't the story of Bond, but it's a story of a guy who did really good on his SATs.
yeah. So like, I remember I was pitching to you my idea for Bond movie if I did the first one,
I
the cold,
respected your imagination.
where the cold open is a character that looks like Daniel Craig, but like has that physique, and it opens with a big action set pieces in a big fucking headquarters, kind of like a Ken Adams headquarters, and that whole sequence is to serve as a sort of farewell to the Craig era, where it was influenced by like the Batman Begins and the Bourne films. This character dies, and we get introduced to a new Bond, and like the movie going forward is like more reminiscent of a movie that would be made today. I guess like a superhero or a more cyberpunky type of vibe to it. To really sell that it's a new era for new Bond. You know what I mean? Oh, that was my take.
Yeah,
That
I
was my
guess
pitch.
I'm more of a old Bond, new era
Right.
kind of guy.
Um, but
Let him be old fashioned. Let him hate the Beatles. Let him be like a square, like like a cultural square.
ooh, so how do
You
you
know,
feel about that he hates the Beatles? Are you like, Bond? How dare you? Or are you like, whatever, it's a quirk?
he's a cantankerous old guy. He doesn't care what the young people are into. He just wants to get some snatch,
um,
save the world.
but I'm really curious now what the aesthetic that Denis Villeneuve is gonna bring. The potential of Hans Zimmer returning as doing the score too, considering that he's worked with Denis for the past 3 films they've done. Blade Run. He worked on Blade Runner 2049. He did the score for both Dune films, and now the third. Assumingly, he's going to be doing the third one coming out later this year. So one can expect Hans Zimmer to be back as doing a score for the next Bond movie, which to me might be better than what he did here, because this to me felt almost as if he was coming in, because he was replacing another guy, wasn't he? Hans
Yes,
was
I forget who. Maybe Thomas Newman.
no, it was because this. I think this was Danny Boyle's guy that he was replacing.
Oh, I know that he had to write the music very quickly.
Yeah, so this felt as much as like this felt like so out of place for Hans, just as Dark Phoenix did when he scored that, where it's like, oh, let's just get him, and he just popped out, some music real quick, some generic, like almost like he has pre-made scores on his studio deck, and he just attached them together, and it's like, all right, here you go. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's one of those things where I wonder how much of Hans Zimmer is a team and a brand, as opposed to actually this one guy named Hans Zimmer
Well,
writing all this music.
you could
You know
tell
what I mean?
when he was very much part of the production, and like his music plays a key role depending on when he does his interviews and talk about the process in which he started. Like for instance, with Christopher Nolan. Most times Nolan sends him the script, and he comes up with melodies for some of these films, and plays it for Nolan, and Nolan goes, "Oh, I like that," and then starts developing the music out of those few chords that he's played. So his score has been developed alongside Nolan's movies, and then it was the same way with Dune, because Dune, I know he's always wanted to be the create the sound of Dune. That was one of his bucket lists as a composer, and that's why he kind of left Nolan before he got to do Tenet. Tenet. He had to score Dune, so that's why I didn't score that one. And you could tell like Hans Zimmer's labor of love went into those type of scores, as opposed to like No Time to Die and X-Men felt like almost throwaway. Not that the music was bad, because I don't think he really creates bad music, but it just never felt.
It's funny. We have different opinions on Hans Zimmer. I think
Really?
he's, I think he's fine. I think he's terribly overrated.
Really? I mean,
Um,
you should check. I checked out his concert. I went to one of his concerts. Motherfucker's talented, man. You should. His
yeah, no,
music
no,
is great.
he's very good.
Yeah.
I think he's also pretty overrated. You know,
Right.
he's got a lot of reputation, which is
Gotcha.
good. You know, it's good to have a reputation of doing good movies, doing good work in those movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I don't think he's like best. He's no David Arnold, but I really like his No Time to Die score because I think that he, under the time crunch that he had, was like, all right, I get to do a Bond score. I don't know any composer who would ever say no to doing a Bond score. Not because it's easy,
Right.
but there are definitely tools and crutches and things you can lean on that are just fun. Like at least 3 or 4 times, a sequence is kind of ended. Even the opening barrel sequence and the initial credits song with just that classic Bondian, guitar chord.
Yeah.
Whatever chord it is. And his one liner, I showed a guy your watch. It really blew his mind.
Yeah.
Like classic, so fun, like not easy. I hate to say easy, but like when you have a toolbox or a sandbox of Bond themes and tools and things you get to play with as a composer,
Hmm.
that must be just the most fun ever. You get to do your version of a Bond theme or a Bond score, and I think that while he would have surely liked more time to die, um, Hans did like he just I think he had a lot of fun composing the score.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I said, it sounds great. His score sounds great. It's just when you think of the catalog of Hans Zimmer's, um, I
Wow.
guess, discography, you know, it wouldn't be up there as some of the top works he's ever done. Which I guess is a testament to his talent, right? Even his throwaways sounds fucking dope. Um, but I say that to say like, if he comes on board for the next Bond movie, it will be coming on board from the beginning with someone he's worked with, which would be his fourth time working with Denny. Um, they'll
Yeah, I'd love
develop.
to see what he can do with years of prep time as opposed to
Yeah.
like 6 weeks or however much time he had.
Now, I
That being
guess
said,
the question.
David Arnold would be my first choice, but
Right, right, right. But I guess the question would be that will you run into the danger of his score overwhelming the movie itself, where it feels like you're listening to a Hans Zimmer concert rather than watching a James Bond movie? You know, not to
I
say.
mean,
And the thing is,
if he can keep himself in check.
I mean, Dune doesn't really feel that way. I think it's music matches and it chimes in the appropriate time when it needs to be chimed in. For Dune, at least. I think he was under, like when you think of the score for what's it called, Blade Runner, and I think he co-composed that with someone else, I believe. His Hans Zimmer is understated in that one, and I guess it does call for that kind of understatement because it's more sort of the film noir, cyberpunk film noir. So you don't really get bombastic music in a film noir type scenario. Um, but yeah, I think that was like the first time he worked with. Yep, it was Benjamin Wallfish and Hans Zimmer, and then Hans Zimmer goes full forward with the Dune movies, which you can tell because you can hear the gravitas of his music in it. So yeah, I'm just curious what he will bring to Bond now that he has sort of the lead in time to create a distinct sound for that movie.
Yeah,
Um,
into it.
so now that everything's wrapped with Daniel Craig, I guess the first question, I don't know if I could actually expand that for the second part, because that probably would be too much. So, but I will start with this. Out of the Craig movies, which, after seeing all five, which one's the top for you? And I guess which one would be the bottom? You have to put them in order. But
It's
I guess
really
top and
close.
bottom.
Um, Casino Royale, in my heart of hearts, has got to be the top, but No Time to Die comes very, very close. I think
Hmm.
it's 2 pounds of movie stuck in a 1 pound bag, um, and that holds it back to an extent. But I
Right,
also feel like it doesn't rush itself.
right,
I
right.
think that it is as suitably epic a finale as Casino Royale is an opening.
Yeah.
So they're very close to me. I'd have to give the edge to Casino Royale. Song's better. Craig is younger, more handsome. Um, I like his suspenders though. I like his outfits in this one.
Oh yeah,
I like his
that was
long
good.
coat. I
Yeah.
like his Henley shirt. I like his gloves. Um, and I like how confident as Bond he is at this point.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as much as I like the ending, there's also I could see him doing five more in the next 5 years. After that, not now. He's too old now. But seeing him in Spectre and in No Time to Die, I'm just like, man, Craig really is Bond. Um, and there's definitely more of a sense of him becoming Bond
Right.
in, and I think that might be one thing that holds that movie back,
Mm-hmm.
and it's something that I don't really want. It was novel and it works really well in that movie and at the time, even now going back to it. But in hindsight, there's a little bit of just get to being Bond already. And the movies, to their detriment, kind of took too long to let Craig just be Bond.
Right.
And that's why, like the Cuba scene, which is such a detour, works. 'Cause it's just like a mini Bond adventure of Daniel Craig being Bond.
Right.
And it's something that would be entirely lost in codename theory world,
Right.
because it would never be whoever being Bond. It would never be Tom Holland or Tom Hiddleston or Henry Cavill or whatever being Bond. It would be them pretending to be Bond.
Got you. Um,
And
for
the bottom,
be
the last act of Spectre is really bad. My nitpicks of Skyfall are Death of a Thousand Cuts, but probably Quantum of Solace. And I like that movie. It's a good
right.
movie. It's fun. It's fast. It's crazy. It's got Matthew O'Murray wielding an axe like a crazy person as the hotel blows up. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's rushed. It's the script wasn't done. It's kind of schizo. It's running around like crazy. Um, Needs some Adderall. But yeah,
yes.
so I put that one on the bottom.
Yeah. So I agree with you on the bottom, Quantum of Solace. Even though I enjoyed it, I mean, realistically, there's only one place you could put that movie. The others are just much better than it, in my opinion. But where I differ from you is the top. I have Skyfall as number one for me. Um, I just feel like that movie, just because it just felt so standalone. It just felt like a Bond movie that you could just put on anytime without prior knowledge of any Bond movies, either before or after. And even though Spectre incorporates Skyfall with Silva as the bad guy, is like, oh yeah, he was part of the Spectre organization. Like that, it doesn't really change anything. Like the independent aspect of that movie. Not there's not much flow over from that movie into the next two anyway. So like, and then of course Roger Deakins' cinematography is just too fucking gorgeous. Like, yeah, to me that movie just felt like just like if you want a epic Bond movie, almost as if like this is like it might, and you might shout heresy, but to me this feels like a modern day version of On Her Majesty's Secret Service, where it's like it's an they're standalone epic Bond movies that you can just put on and just watch by itself without knowledge of Bond in any regard. You know what I mean? And I guess I would put No Time to Die at number two and Casino Royale at three, and then Spectre at four.
No.
Yeah. So yeah, I know you have issues with Spectre, but I just felt like it's sort of dope adventure film, and I just like the fact that the Bond girl in that movie was M, to me anyway. And I like,
Skyfall.
what did I say?
Spectre.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Skyfall. Yeah, I just love that the Bond girl in that movie was M, and I love the way how they introduced Moneypenny. You know, it just felt like you see the seeds of why they were flirtatious with each other. I mean, if the movies had continued, you know, you would know where that flirtation came from. You know what I mean? But yeah, just love Skyfall. But I guess the bigger picture too. But we're not even gonna answer it. That would be too much. Is how would you? What would you say? Still, well, you know what? I guess I could do this. What would be the top number one for you Bond movie of all time? And I guess which one you would put at the barrel if there's a possibility of answering that. Would you put at the bottom out of all of
The bottom is still got to be Diamonds Are Forever. I mean,
Okay.
Sean was not interested anymore. He was aging really hard. He looks 10 years older than the last time we saw him in We Only Live Twice. Jill St. John is gorgeous, but she is not a great Bond girl.
Right.
I don't like the criminologist from Rocky Horror as Blofeld. I like him as an actor, Charles Gray,
Right.
but I don't like him as Blofeld. I think it's a silly, dumb movie, and the action's not good, and it's bad.
Right.
So that's still got to be my bottom.
Right.
You know, it's kind of a miracle that Bond survived. You know, because it had, you know, 3 kind of duds in a row. Diamonds Are Forever was bad, but it was financially better than On Her Majesty's Secret Service, which was not acclaimed at the time.
Right.
Only in hindsight did people grow to appreciate it. Then we got Roger Moore in Live and Let Die, and I don't think that was a huge financial hit. And then The Man with the Golden Gun is also not really beloved. You know, it's more known, it's beloved because of the Golden Gun from like video games. You know?
Yeah.
And it really wasn't until the next one, The Spy Who Loved Me, where they were like, "This is the 10th movie. We gotta go big or go home. We gotta put up or shut up. We gotta make the biggest Bond movie ever." And it's also one of the best. I don't know if I'd put it on the very top. I also I don't want to put On Her Majesty's Secret Service at the very top because that feels like cheating.
Right.
Like, oh, you just like the one that's different, the one that doesn't play by all the same rules. That's like a cinema snob's answer, you know.
Right. Right.
And I am a little bit of a snob, so I want to put that one on top, but I'm not gonna be a snob, so I'm gonna put Spy Who Loved Me on top. It's a perfect Bond adventure. It's over the top. It's Roger Moore. Like you know, when we said how long it took for Daniel Craig to become comfortable as James Bond, this is the first time that we see Roger Moore totally owning the Bond character.
Yeah.
Not being forced to kind of do a Sean Connery thing. Not kind of out of his depth, which he spends most of Live and Let Die kind of smaller than Bond. But in this one, Spy Who Loved Me, he is so confident, so purely 007 that every second he's on screen is just a delight.
Right.
And he gets to fight a bunch of guys.
So he said The Spy Who Loved Me you would put at the top?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, so for me it's gonna be a lot harder, only because like I haven't seen these movies often enough to remember them, and there's how many of these movies? Like 30?
25.
25. I'm talking about 30. That's a good number too, 25. So here's the thing. I would probably okay. I'm gonna still put Skyfall. Skyfall is still the best one out of all of them for me. Right up there with Skyfall though is The World Is Not Enough. Only because that movie holds a special place in my heart. It being my first. And the plot of The World Is Not Enough is pretty dope too. You know what I mean? I think that is, to me anyway, Brosnan's best out of his movies. Some people might say, "Fuck you, it's GoldenEye." I think it's World Is Not Enough. So I'll put that as a close second. The worst though, it'll probably be one of the older movies. I think maybe in the Roger Moore catalog. If I can remember them. Let's see. Which one was the one that was like primarily in America? I don't know if that's the one I hated.
Live and Let Die. Live and Let Die had New York scenes, and A View to a Kill had San Francisco.
Which one had that crazy guy that was also in? I think no, was he in Superman too? That cop, Edith cop. I'm gonna kill that hick crazy cop. That was the Live and Let Die.
Live and Let Die, and then Man with the Golden Gun.
Yeah, because I think
with the redneck cop.
Yeah.
I know you. You're that English secret agent from England.
All right. So I would say probably because I think they were trying to like how Bond is always like a representation of its era. I think this Live and Let Die was like the whole blaxploitation era of filmmaking.
Oh yeah. Bond gets down with a system.
If I had to put a movie down, I guess maybe it would be one of those. It would have to be because I don't think, for me anyway. Just like Craig, I don't think Connery had a bad one. Even though you didn't like Diamonds Forever, I probably liked that movie. But yeah, I would say probably it's either gonna be Live and Let Die or probably Moonraker, because that was probably ridiculous.
Wound me.
You said I wound you?
Yes, you wound me. Moonraker is so much fun. But kind of the whole point of this thing, this experiment we've done, is that unlike a lot of other film series, if you want to watch a bad Bond movie, I'm there for it.
Yeah.
If anyone's like, you want to watch like Death Wish 5, I'm like, they're like, you want to watch Force 10 from Navarone? They're like, you want to watch Diamonds Are Forever? Hell yeah, dude, put it on. Make us Vespers.
Oh man. Yeah, but it's a great series. The fact that it's lasted over 50 years now, it's 60 already, right?
60. Yep.
Yes. Wait, did they do? Because I know the 50th.
Skyfall was the big 50th.
Yeah, the Skyfall. They did they even released the box set. Did they even do anything special for 60?
Nah, there was no movie.
Yeah, there was no movie, but at least something special. At least I don't know. Well,
at a certain point, anniversaries just remind you how old something is.
True, but they never.
It doesn't become like a thing that young people are interested in.
Yeah, and then you're kind of right, because they didn't have a movie out. Because they had a movie out for 40 and they had a movie out for 50, right? Like there was a Pierce movie out for 40. Which one was it? Die Another Day?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh my god. That was the 40th anniversary. And Skyfall. Wait, what was your feeling on Die Another Day? Like, was it bad?
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, it's bad, but it's fine.
So, like, in your
It's
opinion,
bad, but I like it.
so I guess in your opinion, both the 40th anniversary and the 50th anniversary movies weren't that great.
I think Skyfall is a bizarre choice for the 50th anniversary. Like,
Right.
hey, let's celebrate the 50th anniversary of this beloved series with a movie that like clearly doesn't want to be part of the series.
Right.
So it's celebrate the 50th anniversary. Celebrate 50 years of exploding pens by having Q say, "We don't do exploding pens, you bitch." Yeah, Q calls Bond a bitch, and Bond's like, "It's true. I am a bitch."
So that was. Oh, so I
I'm
guess the
paraphrasing.
if No Time to Die had came out a year later, it would have landed on the 60th
Yeah, but that
anniversary.
movie was already pushed back like a year and a half.
Yeah. So it's
All
like,
behind the
damn.
scenes of that, and how it was impacted by COVID and all that.
Yeah. So they missed it by 1 year, and that would have been like a fitting, almost like. Not only are you wrapping up his story, but like you're wrapping up 60 years, uh, like a 60-year thing. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah, but you gotta start again. You gotta start it again in a couple years.
so can we? Is it possible to get a Bond movie? I mean, I'm sure we're gonna get a Bond movie before 2032. Uh, so like, is there like if I had to guess, because Dune comes out this year, um, so he'll need at least 2 years to do the next Bond movie. So the earliest we possibly get Bond, his next Bond is 2028, 2029, which means we will have another 2 to 3 years, depending. Well, 3 to 4 years, depending.
I mean, there's a
Uh,
lot of variables at play,
yeah,
so
to get a movie in
it's hard to
2032.
lock it in.
Yeah, right.
There's a million reasons why Denis Villeneuve could just go, you know what, fuck this shit, fuck you, Bezos,
Yeah,
and flip the table, and be like, I'm gonna do more Dune movies, and then
yeah.
I'll be like, God damn it, I don't even care about Dune.
I think the one big thing
Like,
that Bezos could do to fuck with the whole franchise is to either do a shortened window, theatrical window, just because he want to put it on Amazon Prime, or just straight to Prime. That I mean, I don't think he'll be that stupid or 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 insane that the
well,
next
these
Bond
people are
movie will be.
stupid, and he's gonna be like, so how can we get AI in this? Or how can we make the themes be about union busting? How it's great to work for, pennies on the dollar at an Amazon factory where you have to pee in a fucking bottle.
That's this is a crazy. I mean, this is probably something we could talk about for a separate podcast because this topic in itself is vast. But the idea
Jeff
that
Bezos
all
is a
these,
literal Bond villain.
or not only that, but all these tech companies are trying to buy these studios, and these studios are producing art, which art is primarily a liberal or more progressive um, people behind these art, and it's like, okay, why are you like? You guys are clearly siding with the ops, as we us in the urban community like to speak of the opposition. Um, but you're siding with the ops. The Trump administration. You're going more conservative as the richer you get because the idea of progress means that hierarchies will be toppled, or at least the traditional way we look at hierarchies would be toppled. So the idea of buying these companies is to help push an agenda of, um, you know, conservatism. We've seen what happened is happening with CBS already. Um, but yet you have these films and these television shows that are clearly being created by liberals and progressives, how do you? It's like you're not gonna get a conservative creator to create anything good. It's just not gonna happen. You know what I mean? Even products that they like to say Tyler Sheridan is conservative. Like he creates a lot of conservative shows. Your Landmans and your 1663 or whatever the fuck that shit was, or
Yellowstone, Tulsa
Yellowstone.
King, stuff like that.
Yeah, so they like to say, oh yeah, he's like the conservative king. I mean, I've watched some of his stuff. Like I've watched The Lioness, which he's heavily involved in. Other than it
That
being
show's
sort
great.
of other than it being sort of pro military in a lot of ways and pro
It's gay as hell.
covert. Yeah, it's like I mean, like number one, the head of an organization is a woman. Two, by the way, it's Nicole Kidman.
Yeah, and her boss is a woman.
Right, and it's like you have the whole
Chicks are banging chicks the whole
exactly. So it's like
time.
he's
Yeah, I
he's
love that show.
yeah, he's not as conservative as you think he is, people. You know what I mean?
Because there's a difference between like old school, like, you know, conservatism, like some people would call it Republican classic,
Right.
where like they're like cowboys and stuff, and like yeah, do they believe in stupid bullshit like trickle down economics and church? Yeah, but still American. They're still on the same side generally, more or less overall in the grand scheme of things. They're not Russian assets.
Right.
They're not literal oligarchs. But the Republicans we have today are not that. You
So
know?
like the idea of buying these studios, like like Paramount is trying to circle back on Warner Brothers again, to get that infrastructure is like okay, like but the content isn't going to stop being the way they are. Like people are still going to make progressive stories and stories about the human condition, and not
Yeah,
going to
like
be selling
there's
that
a couple
idea.
different ways. There's a couple different ways to look at it. Like one, the most evil way to look at it is that AI wins, and AI is
Right.
not going to win, but they're putting so much money into it. Rich people money. Uh, Rich people are putting their money into it because they want to cut out the middleman, which is
Right.
the artist. Because they
Right.
don't believe in art, they believe in content. They believe in product. They don't
Mm.
give a shit about art. Um, and in that sometimes that manifests in like, let's not build an animatronic, let's make it CGI. Um, that's and that's today seems hilarious. It's like they're both just two different ways of making a movie,
Right.
making a dinosaur, of making a space monster, of making a guy jump off a building.
Yeah.
Um, but they want to go. Jeff Bezos wants to go on his computer. He doesn't know how to do anything. He's a stupid idiot. He doesn't know how to draw. He doesn't know how to write a script. He's a fool. But he wants to go make Bond movie, and then 5 minutes later, something that looks like a $200 million movie pops out, and he can go, "I made this. I'm an artist like you, Guillermo del Toro. I'm an artist like you, Steven Spielberg." When, of course, that's not the case. That will never be the case. He's just a chump, spending a lot of money because he wants to be taken seriously as an artist, even though he's never put in the the work. He's never had the talent. He's never developed the skills to actually create art.
Right.
Uh, and so that's one way that the wealthy corporate elite want to take over, because they hate art, they hate artists, but they love being famous.
Right.
They love being rich, and they think that they can do that by creating content. Um, using shortcuts. And the other possibility is that they want to change the culture, that they want to get their filmmakers who will toe the line, who will support their themes, who will throw union busting into, a Star Wars movie, the anti-Andor.
Yeah, but those
Uh,
type of filmmakers are just not good though. I mean,
yeah, exactly,
yeah,
exactly. But
like
but they figure, yeah, they're not that good at scripts, but they've got ChatGPT to help, and
like
they can.
who would
And if we
probably
throw
be
enough money at it, if we've already made stupid bullshit slop that means nothing, like Red One. Remember Red One?
yeah. Who
Remember
would
The
probably
Rock?
be who would probably be as close to a big filmmaker that they could get, which might line up
Mel
with
Gibson.
their well, him too, I guess. The other one, because you don't really know where his politics lie, but he's at least politically neutral in most of his works. And I'm a fan of this guy, but at least they could, if they got him to do a lot more movies, it's less progressive and more friendly to their values. And I guess that's Michael Bay. It's like hot chicks, cars blow, go boom, and
Yeah.
military
Like there
good.
are there are, people who identify as conservative who make pretty great art. Like,
Yeah.
he's a lunatic and I never want to hang out with him, but like John Voight, freaking amazing actor, one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
You know, Mel Gibson, I don't ever want to meet that man. I will watch Lethal Weapon on repeat for my whole life and be fine.
And I guess that's the
Um,
thing, right? It's like to the point of what the conservatism has reached. You can see a pocket of a pocket period in Hollywood where those movies reflected as much as what they would want to reflect. Like when you mentioned Lethal Weapon, movies around that time period, they were pretty inoffensive when it comes to pushing um, a heavy message one way or the other when it comes to values or anything. It was just like a straight up cop movie about a guy who was suicidal. Who, I guess, but in a sense, in that way, it's. I guess you would say the people behind that movie has more progressive. Like, what's his name? Shane Black. Was he
yeah, Shane
Shane Black?
Black. I mean, like
And
that movie busted down barriers because alongside and this is aged poorly, the Cosby Show.
right.
It showed the black lead as like the older, wiser, family man, in a stable relationship and kind of happy suburban idyllic life.
Yeah.
And the Cosby Show didn't have the Riggs character, but in Lethal Weapon, Riggs is like the you know down on his luck, unhinged, dangerous, you know, kind of at risk guy. And I think in the average Hollywood movie, you would kind of flip those roles and make the black person be
Right.
quote unquote dangerous, and have the white dude be a little older, like Webster. You know?
Yeah. So you see, it's like that's the thing is I think people just misremembering when they say, "Oh, the golden age of cinema," and when things weren't woke and all that stuff. It's like the shit you consumed was woke as hell. You just didn't. Your mind wasn't able to grasp it, and it wasn't poisoned by right wing YouTube, right wing Twitter right now to look out for
Right.
those things.
Exactly. The
You know.
social media, like when Charlie Kirk died. Oh, he's talking about Charlie Kirk. A very common thing that I found among people who are older than like 30
Right.
was, who who is that?
Right.
I don't know who that is. I've never seen. Is he on TV? No. Where is he? On YouTube? No, I watch YouTube for like the history of food videos.
Right.
Like I watch like, cat videos on YouTube. Like not everyone like gives like that level of attention to politics.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that that's inherently a good or bad thing, but like no one knew who this guy was.
Right.
Like he was just like a guy, like a college lecturer, but who only targets like freshmen who he knows that he's like the boxer who's the prize champion of the world, but he only fights people he knows he can beat.
Yeah.
You know,
Uh.
um, and but like my point is that they're so plugged in and they're so defined by
Mhm.
their cult like um devotion to these right wing ideals that they don't understand are, or maybe they do understand, are dog whistles for racism and enabling of fascism and all the horrible stuff that's going on. We're
Yeah.
not a political show, but the we're not going to ignore what's going on outside. We're not going to ignore what's going on in Minneapolis or any city that is under siege by federal forces.
Exactly.
Um,
And if the fucked up thing is, you can make a movie about this administration, right? Right now, right? Like all the characters, your Donald Trumps, your Chrissy Gnomes, your Pam Bondys, your fucking Stephen Millers, plug them
yeah, you
into a
could make it
movie,
and people wouldn't believe it. They'd go, "That's too silly."
right? Not only that, you'll make this movie and send it back in time to the 80s or the 90s and have people watch it, and they'll clearly, these people who right now who are screaming woke this, woke that, they'll watch that movie and say, oh my god, these are the bad guys, what kind of fucking authoritarian bullshit is this, right? But now they're like screaming, yay, death to the liberals. Like, bro, like, how far have you fucking fallen that you don't even recognize that you're cheering for the bad guys? You know
Yeah,
what I
the
mean?
difference is, like I said, with the cult like devotion, like even in the 80s, in the height of Reagan trickle down economics and the lasting damage that has made to this day, and his foreign policy, sending CIA to Nicaragua to train the Contras in Honduras, then send them off to topple democracies
Yeah.
and install dictators in their place. Very American. And fueling it all by selling, crack to the ghetto, allegedly.
Yeah.
And Oliver North. Don't get me started on that guy. He showed up in Call of Duty Black Ops 2. Good for him. But my point is, even at the height of that,
Right.
the maximum conservatism of the 80s, people didn't walk around with shirts of Ronald Reagan. They didn't walk around with hats of Ronald Reagan that said "Make America Reagan Again."
Yeah.
They didn't like. Ugh, they didn't have this like cult like devotion. That's the only thing that I can say to describe it, to their dear leader, in like a Kim Jong Il kind of way. Like he's Stalin. Um,
So what's funny is like this, the irony of it all. Like I keep going back to this memory I had when Star Wars Episode 3 came out, and there's a review about it came out, and I read it, and one of the quotes that I mean, it was a bad review of the movie, right? But one of the quotes that they took from the movie to help sell the idea that the movie was terrible and that everybody else is seemingly loved the movie because of the whole fight sequence between Obi-Wan and Anakin. Uh, this reviewer sums up his review by saying, so this is how this franchise ends with thunderous applause, which is basically like aping the scene in the movie where it said, this is how democracy dies with thunderous applause. Um, it's like the same people who hated those movies, who have now, I guess, grown up, or even their opinions might have changed, or the people who grew up around those movies are now the loud representation of today's modern audiences, who saw that movie with her saying the lines, "This is how democracy dies with thunderous applause," are in fact repeating that very same thing, by you know applauding the death of democracy each day that passes with this administration. And it's like, what the fuck, man? Like, you guys would watch these movies about dictators and despots and bad guys, and yet when you have one staring you in the face, you can't even recognize it, or you do recognize it, and you just always love the bad guys for some reason. I mean, people love Darth Vader. They were like, he's one of the best characters, but people forget he is the bad guy of the series. As cool as he was,
I mean, that's
he was the bad guy.
That's like the underappreciated genius of prequels, and sometimes it's in spite of themselves. But like, episode 2 introduces the clone army, and everyone's like, "Hooray!"
Yeah.
Yoda's like, "Oh boy, I don't know how this is gonna end, but this is not going the way it should be going."
Right.
There's nothing he can do about it, because the people in charge are doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
And then, they're ostensibly on the same side until the dictator goes, "All right, kill all the Jedi. Execute order, kill all the Jedi." I think that's the exact verbatim term.
Yeah.
And
execute order 66.
Execute order, kill all the Jedi. And they do, and Yoda's like, shoot. turns out creating the Grand Army of the Republic, which we don't even know how it came to be. We don't even know who created it. Like, how did ICE get so powerful? I mean, the Grand Army of the Republic.
Bro, it's exactly my point, bro. It's like, they watch these movies and they're seeing the plot points unfold in front of their eyes, like right now, and it's like deer in headlights. It's like, whoa, you're not even grasping a little bit of similarities here, people? Are we serious right now?
But you know what? It goes both ways too. Because the other day, just on a whim, I played one of my favorite video games of all time, Max Payne 3. If you know me, you know that I won't shut up about that game. It's been 14 years, and it's my favorite game. And every time I play it, I get something new out of it. And it's actually been a while. It's been like 2 years since I played it.
Alright.
And it's like a 6-hour game. You'll beat it in a day. But a big part of the story involves the super cops, the UFE, in Sao Paulo, Brazil, like a task force, a gang task force, who basically go in to town, wave their guns around, scare the locals, shoot a lot of innocent people, and also do other stuff like for the villains of the story. But they're stormtroopers,
Right.
Stormtroopers, bringing it back to Star Wars, bringing it back to World War II. It was there all along. It was always there. It's not something that they just added, It's not something that Kathleen Kennedy, your arch nemesis, your boogeyman, imposed, But eventually the locals start fighting back against the UFE, the big cops. And Max Payne, he sees it happen. And he has this quote, and it's so great that I wrote it down because it applies what's going on with ICE. He says, quote, "That's what happens when you hand some roided up halfwit a commando uniform with special on the front and let him ride around his hometown in a tank playing soldiers. Sooner or later, someone's gonna decide he's not so special."
Yep.
So
exactly what's happening now.
It's absolutely tragic. It's horrible, the fucking around that's happening.
And it's
only a matter of time until they find out.
And it's just frustrating now, because you would think now, with all the technology that's afforded us, with the fact that people have cameras on their phones, and you could see that these people, this administration, is just lying through their teeth. And it's like, I understand, because I get it, right? As a kid, you really didn't pay attention to politics, anything in politics. You didn't really give a shit. You just played your video games, and then even when you were a teenager, it's like it's all about video games and girls and stuff like that. You don't really give a shit about politics. And then in your 20s, you pay attention to a little bit, but not to the point where it's like a part of your life. So you're just worrying about just being an adult, right? So I understand that people have no time for politics. I was like that for most of my life. It wasn't until like I would say 5 or 6 years, probably around five. Like right around the pandemic time. Like before that, I would dip in and out in politics because my dad was always watching CNN or MSNBC. So you see a little bit of what's going on, but not enough to make it a daily part of your life. Especially around Trump's first term, like one of the things that would, you know, get me to stop and look at the TV once in a while is just to hear how this man speaks. I'm like, that's unlike any other president I've ever heard speak before. Like, who is this fucking guy, right? I mean, I knew who Donald Trump was before, but I just didn't really pay attention to him in terms of like, him having talking and giving interviews. But just the way he conducted himself as president was like very off-putting even then. But it still wasn't enough to sway me to really pay attention to politics. But then when the pandemic hit and you have more time on your hands and just the way how people were fucking frazzled and just running around with like the end of the world was coming, then you really start to pay attention to things and different political members and factions and stuff like that. And then the more I started paying attention, believe it or not, it really fucking terrified me because it just made me real. My idea of politicians is that there were people who were just smarter than me, who just were just above me in a certain intellectual category where they could converse and policies and stuff on a level I couldn't. You know what I mean? Like things that I wouldn't understand. So like that's above my pay grade. I don't pay attention to it. There are people out there that can do that stuff, and that's their thing. But then really paying attention and realizing, holy shit, these guys are fucking imbeciles. Like I could do their jobs. It just really started terrifying me. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's the difference between the first term and the second term. When the first term, it was Trump and Stephen Miller, and they had, their ideology, but they also had a lot of Republican classics.
Yeah, they had the safeguards,
them. Yeah, safeguards, exactly.
Yeah.
And in the second term, all those guys are gone.
Yeah.
They either resigned, or like Marco Rubio, or even the Ted Cruz, who at one time was on the far end, but still arguably Republican classic.
Yeah,
just
and
completely went full MAGA.
Yeah, and all these people, all at some point in their careers, talk mad shit about Trump, and now they're like kissing his feet. You know what I mean? It's like,
and they're just doing, and like you said, they're imbeciles, so they're doing whatever they want with no reproach. No one's pushing back, but there's such a plain and clear record of it because they're all terrible at their jobs. They don't know how to do cover-ups.
Right, like, that's what I'm saying.
Texting war plans to journalists. That we have like never before a public record of the executive branch, and it's A, horrifying, and B, not making a difference.
Yeah, and publicly truthing your intentions to get Pine Bondi to persecute your enemies, and it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, they have nothing, and that's why they love AI, because they go, oh, ICE killed a lady in Minnesota for no good reason, and here's all the evidence, and what's their evidence? An AI video. That's just a lie.
Yeah.
And they want AI to become good enough that that they can use it as Kellyanne Conway coined the term way back in 2016, alternative facts.
Yeah.
Anyway, James Bond.
Yes, it's pretty sad. That's why I said it could have been
Ja-
its own fucking podcast. But
yeah, James Bond would beat the shit out of Jeff
so
Bridges.
I guess to bring it back to Bond is,
Who even fucking looks like Blofeld?
but there's so many villain. I mean, people in his administration that look like there would be villains in a movie. Like Stephen Miller is one of them. Like, oh yeah, that, like, you look at that guy, that's a bad guy. You don't even have to know his politics to just like, oh yeah, that's a bad guy right there.
Yeah, totally.
Pam Bondi, when you look at her eyes, she looks like she has no fucking soul, bro. Like when she's just talking and just blatantly. And again, this could all be just me knowing just how twisted and devilish these people are. Just that's making me look at them a certain
And
way,
you got Nick Nack. I mean JD Vance.
right? This is, and what about the other guy with the fucking eye patch? Like, just like,
Yeah, he used to be one of the good ones. He used to be a Republican classic, and now he's just straight MAGA.
yeah, and then
He's like a war hero or whatever, so he can do whatever he wants.
and then this insane one who is still calling himself a Democrat, who just wears hoodies and shorts in the middle of the winter to
Doug
fucking,
Fetterman, who like
yeah.
had a stroke, and like I'm pretty sure his brain is like half rotted out.
Yeah,
Pretty sure he's Ray Liotta in Hannibal. Like he just literally ate his own brain.
yeah, and then what could possibly be a cool story if someone's brave enough to tell it? The curse of the Kennedys, right?
Oh my god.
The curse of the Kennedy. Like, something went wrong with that family, man. Whereas, like, from the beginning, that family was just fucking cursed. And then
Yeah, where all the good ones die and all the shitty ones live.
and then now one of them has a fucking brain, a worm in his brain that's running
Yeah,
the health department.
Robert Kennedy Sr. was probably the best Kennedy,
Right.
and that's a pretty high bar to clear. Like, maybe, if JFK hadn't been assassinated, he would have brought down for, banging half of Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
or whatever. But RFK, flashing the peace sign at this 1968 Democratic Convention,
Mm-hmm.
unprecedented. So it seems like nothing, but like people don't do that now.
Yeah. It's just,
He could have been a great man. A capital G. The history, they call it, the great man theory or whatever.
yeah.
He could have been a great man, and his son is a fucking gross dweeb.
Yeah, it's just like I can't, I can't listen to him talk. I mean, I get it. He has
Listen to him talk.
he has
Nothing
a
he
cancer
says
in
is
his throat,
worthwhile.
but it's like, bro, dude, you sound like you're dying, and you're like the head of health.
He has like a weird obsession with autism, and he said that people with autism will never be able to play baseball. And it's like, dude, all of my friends who are into baseball are some level on the spectrum.
Yeah,
Because no one gives a shit about statistics unless you're at least a little bit on the spectrum.
that's exactly.
It's like, yeah, he's batting a 300. I don't know what that means, but they do.
Yeah. So I guess we'll ramble on about politics. So bringing it back to Bond. Let's see what Bond, what the new era of Bond would represent. How the villains would be. We're heading back to sort of the Russia being the bad guys again. Will that will they be allowed to talk? I mean, it's Amazon and they're run by a conservative. Will they be able to tell that story? Because right now, it seems like the administration wants to whitewash Russia. Only when it can. The only time they demonize Russia is when it helps sell what they're trying to do with Greenland. Like, so no, Russia is the bad guy.
There's no international policy. Period. It's all just whatever
It's
Trump can
vibes.
do to make
Yeah.
himself look good.
So
that's the be all end all of.
What does a espionage movie look like in this new world order, where where
Well, the
literal
joke is,
Bond
I mean,
villains are running a
I
country.
used to think it was a joke answer, but like if the next Bond movie has the villain, poisoning vaccines, and then the twist at the end is that the vaccines were poisoned all along,
Yeah, that'll be
then
fucking
I'm out.
yeah.
But at the same time, I cannot see Denis Villeneuve in a million years going
Doing
along with that.
yeah, that would be no.
So if he leaves under creative differences, then I'm like, okay, this movie's fun.
Yeah,
Uh, R.I.P. Bond, 1962 to 2021.
yeah,
Movie Bond.
yeah, yeah.
But if I think if Bezos, at some point the AI bubble is going to burst. They're going to realize that they can't take over the culture any more than they already have. They're going to realize that the only people who are still on Twitter, I mean X, the everything app, are Russian bots.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not on Twitter anymore. I throw my work up there sometimes, but every time I catch myself on Twitter, I'm like, what am I doing? Close that shit.
Yeah, I
And
just
then go
have a
back to
habit
Blue
of
Sky.
I just habit of doom scrolling on Twitter. Unfortunately,
Yeah,
it's probably
yeah. Every
my
once in a while, I'll
sickness.
catch myself, and I'll be like, no, 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 no. This isn't helping. This isn't
Yeah,
helping anybody. Like I can call MAGA people, maggots,
yeah,
but MAGATS.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But that doesn't. That's not gonna make any difference because most of them are bots anyway,
Mm-hmm.
not real people.
It's
Like
like,
the
dude,
people
you're
who voted for Trump aren't on Twitter.
you're arguing with
Don't
a
have phones.
computer.
Exactly, and not in like a cool Captain Kirk way.
Yeah.
But
So yeah,
yeah,
the,
so if Denis Villeneuve, drops out suddenly and is just like, I can't deal with these people, then yeah, Bond's in trouble.
yeah,
But if they know what's good for him, they'll just be like, here's $250 million. Come back in 5 years with a movie. And from what I understand, sometimes that's still how things happen.
yeah.
Very rarely, but it can still happen. You know, Star Wars, The Last Jedi. Let's bring it back to something that's not so divisive. They said, hey, Ryan Johnson, here's $250 million or so. See you in 2 years. He came back and they were like, great, I love it. And then I saw it and I was like, great, I love it.
Right.
And that's that.
Yeah, I just hope the pendulum swings back, man. Like uh, like I get it. You know, there's a lot of what do you call it, and you could clearly tell now. There's a lot of performative, um, progressiveness going on with companies.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and
Yeah, McDonald's celebrates Pride. Like,
yeah,
McDonald's isn't gay or gives a shit about like they're not people. They're a company,
yeah. So
a corporation.
that really hurt the movement, and this and in this caused a lot of the darkest seeds of humanity to just spread across the fucking land. Um, but hopefully, like it doesn't take as long as it did for people to realize that Hitler was a bad guy before they realize, oh yeah, we're heading in that direction, and we can do something to pump that brakes. Like I'm choosing to believe that technology has gotten us to the point where things move faster, and one of those things that would move faster is people realizing, oh yeah, this is a bad idea. Let's turn back. You know what I mean? Trump and his ilk are just not it. And I hope our art still reflects that. Art never changes because we can't. Like art has never been. I mean, I guess if you go back to a time of like when they did that movie that the Ku Klux Klan love,
Birth of a Nation.
Birth of a Nation. I guess propaganda stuff like that, I guess, existed. Um, and then of course Germany had their own forms of propaganda in their films. Um, but when you look at those movies, they don't really stand the test of time, really, because they clearly just had one agenda and one agenda only. Um, instead of really talking about the human experience, it's really about, oh, let's sell this thing, let's sell
Yeah.
this
Well,
idea. So
hate is always an easier sell than love, and it also spoils a lot faster.
right, so
I just made that up. I'm on a roll. I'm a genius.
I was
That's a great
watching,
trick. That's gonna be on lunchboxes.
I was watching uh, industry. I think Sunday night was the first episode of season 4, and there was a scene where one of the main characters was talking to this, uppity up money guy. Um, and I guess so. The time between season 3 and 4, in season 3, at the end, this money guy hired this woman because she's a woman and she's black. Even though he never specified that. I mean, she's good at what she did, so it it would it was great that he put her on. He partnered with her on this venture, but things. But I guess between season 3 and 4, shit happens where things aren't going too great, and what he did, the things he said to her was like, the reason I hired you doesn't matter anymore. It's not enough to isolate you or to inoculate you from the shitstorm that's coming, because guess what? Like, people aren't progressive anymore. People, like, I'm paraphrasing what he's saying here, but like he's saying like people don't give a shit because yesterday I just called one of my employees a retard, and or a year ago or two, me calling him a retard would get everybody up in arms, and nobody. I call him a retard, and nobody batted a lid. And I'm thinking about doing it tomorrow, and it's just summed up the ideology of what's permeating now, where people are saying woke is dead. You can now be as shitty to anybody as you can right now. And it's funny how a piece of art pointed that out, and how using the art as a way to point out this is a reality we live in now, but not celebrating it, but pointing it out. I'm hoping that we get more art where it points that out instead of celebrating it, and hopefully that we don't go in that direction. I guess my sum up of this
Yeah,
podcast.
well said. And just like once they get that goal, they realize how meaningless it is, how
Yeah,
worthless it is, how their entire crusade has just been on behalf of some douchebag. And that
exactly.
usually helps to demoralize causes like this. But I just wish it would happen sooner rather than later.
Yeah. I just wish we didn't have to go through this year of this nonsense, but let's see how it goes. Hopefully, it doesn't make it to his full term. People wake up. That's what this world needs. People just need to really wake up. Now more than ever. Like, now, people need to start paying attention to politics and
Release the
pay
Epstein
attention.
files. The
Yeah,
actual Epstein files. The rest of them.
facts. All right, Zach. After this 2-hour epic wrap up of the Bond movies, and who knows when we're gonna get another Bond movie, where can people reach you?
You can reach me at my name, Zach Voynar. You can read my work at TV Squad and Game Daily. And I guess I can announce it now. You can also read my work.
You cut out. You cut out exactly when you were about to give your big announcement. Hello, hello, hello. Uh oh. Did we lose Zach? Did we lose Zach? Okay, yeah. So where can? What's your big announcement?
Uh, well, I haven't technically started yet, but hopefully by the time this is out, Maybe I'll have an article out by then. I'm going to be writing at Newsweek.com, covering video games
Woo!
to me.
Shit. Good shit,
I
man.
know.
Good shit. Congrats.
Exciting. Very exciting to see how that goes.
Nice, nice. All right, and for me, you can catch me on Instagram, TikTok at Mark Obridge, and uh, you can find my other channel where I do a lot of short films and music videos, Omega World Entertainment. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. And in the description below, you will find links to the comedy series "I'm a Good Wife" that I did on for Tubi, and then also my comic book "Mana Kingdoms" issue 1 and 2. I just finished the prologue for issue 3. I'm gonna start on the main story. That's gonna be a big book. Hopefully, it'll be out sometime next year. I'm excited, and that would be the end of the first arc, the first volume. That would be a milestone for me for Mana Kingdoms. So yeah, can't wait. All right, guys. So until next time, folks, I want to say peace.
Indeed.